Hey guys, what's up? This is Ari in Beijing, and this show is all about how you can learn any language you want to as quickly as possible. My name's Ari, I speak Mandarin Chinese, and I actually have a really popular video channel in China where I speak in only Mandarin. I do interviews a lot on this show with polyglots, who speak all kinds of languages. These polyglots are really amazing people, and our guest today is absolutely no exception. He's nothing short of extraordinary. His name is Yohei. He comes to us all the way from Japan, specifically the University of Tokyo, which is the best university in Japan. And he's actually somewhat famous in Japan for being able to speak 9 languages really well. He's been on TV, he has his own YouTube channel, he has a big Twitter following, and he's done it all while just being in Japan. He hasn't lived anywhere abroad ever, just grown up in a purely Japanese-only household. And so, really extraordinary story, and it's a little bit of a long interview, but guys, I promise, just listen to the whole thing because, I do a lot of these interviews, and it's not easy for me to be absolutely blown away by somebody's language learning advice, but in this case, Yohei gave me so much confidence, this confidence in myself to go out and learn languages. I feel like going and learning Arabic right now. So, stay tuned and definitely stay through the end. And definitely subscribe to my channel for more awesome language learning advice and tips and tricks and stuff. And also check out Yohei's channel as well in the description. So, without further ado, bring it on, Yohei! Back at you with a very special episode today. Really special guest. His name is Yohei. He's from Japan. He's an amazing polyglot who's actually somewhat famous in Japan for his ability to speak 9 languages. Which is really, really cool. Do you want to introduce yourself, Yohei?
Okay, so my name is Yohei, and I'm a Japanese university student, and I speak Japanese as a native language, and English, Chinese, and French and Spanish. These 5 languages I speak in a decent level, and I speak Korean and Italian and Portuguese and Arabic a little bit. It's a great honor to make a video with Ari in Beijing. I'll try to do my best. Thank you.
Awesome. So I know people are always interested in hearing polyglots speak in different languages, and especially considering how rare it is to have a Japanese polyglot who speaks so many languages. Could you maybe introduce yourself in these different languages?
Okay, so I do a self-introduction using 7 different languages, which I did in a TV program of Japan. So I do that. Okay, so hello everyone, nice to meet you. Eu me chamo Yohei Akiyama e tenho 25 anos. À la tarde, jamais à Tokyo à Adressa Saidra. Mi piace giocare a calcio e imparare le lingue. En parlant avec des étrangers, j'ai appris beaucoup de langues comme ça. 如果你会说很多语言，你更能理解各种各样的文化，开阔你的世界。Vale, hoy os voy a presentar los secretos de aprendizaje de idioma. Muchas gracias. That's all.
Woo!
That's
all. That's yeah. I can't vouch for the languages other than Mandarin, but we were just speaking in Mandarin earlier, and Yohei speaks amazing Chinese in addition obviously to English, and so yeah, I guess just to get started, man.
Okay.
What's up?
Okay, that's all.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So I guess just to get started, how did you start this this like language learning journey, especially given that Japan, like the United States, is a country where, most people only speak one language. How did you get interested in learning multiple languages, and when did you start?
Actually, when I started learning languages when I was a high school student. Actually, when I was a junior high school student, my dream is to becoming a professional football player.
Oh, yeah.
But I gave because it was too difficult for me. But instead of becoming a professional soccer player myself, I somehow got the motivation to understand what the very famous football players said in their native languages. That's why I started learning Spanish, which is the language is spoken in many countries in South America where the soccer is very popular. That is the beginning of my journey.
So cool. So when did you? So you were brought up speaking only Japanese, sorry?
Yeah, I was born and raised in a very domestic Japanese family where the parents don't speak English at all, and I don't have any experience of studying and living in a foreign country. So I can say I'm very domestic person in Japan. Yeah.
Cool, cool. And so what was the first language that you started studying? Other than
As I told
Japanese?
you, it was Spanish. It was Spanish.
Right,
Other than English, which is mandatory to learn
right.
from junior high to high school in Japan.
And so what age did you start learning Spanish at?
Spanish, I started at the age of maybe 15 or 16 when I was a high school student in the first grade. So maybe 15 or 16. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Um, and so I guess maybe maybe you can't answer this question, but how long would you say it takes you to get to a point where you feel like you're conversational or fluent in a new language?
Now I know lot of tips of learning languages. So
Hmm.
now I can say I can like learn a new language in about maybe 6 months, half
Wow,
year.
wow,
Yeah,
cool.
I can
And
say that.
and so how much time, just to kind of get into more of your language learning process, how much time do you spend? Like, is it a full-time thing for you? When you're studying this language, in that 6 months, or like how much time every day would you say you would need to devote to studying?
I don't think I like really concentrate on learning one languages
Yeah,
during this 6 months because I'm a university student, so I have to like go to the laboratory to do some kind of scientific experiment. So I'm learning languages just one of the like hobby I can say.
yeah.
So just I don't think I concentrate very much on one languages.
Hmm. Okay. So what like to what is let's see, if it what is an ideal like day in your language learning life look like for you? Like,
So
you're
okay.
studying Spanish, you wake up, what's like the first thing you do?
Yeah, maybe the ideal day is start from like memorizing the words and phrases I encountered like through the conversation of the native Spanish speaker,
Yeah.
like maybe the day before, and I maybe as the next step I'm gonna go to talk with a like native Spanish speaker.
Okay.
Ideal things I talk with people in person,
Yeah.
but if it is difficult, I use some kind of like language exchange application.
Okay.
Because of the development technology, there are a lot of tools with which I can like instantly connect to the people,
Right.
no matter where I live, no matter
Yeah.
where the counterpart live,
Right.
even if they are very far away geography from Japan. So I try to try to use Spanish
Yeah.
with the Spanish people, and maybe through which I encounter again a lot of like phrases and words and phrases whose meaning I don't know, and what I think is very like important to improve my language level, and maybe I'll pick it up and I write down my personal note.
Hmm.
So this is how I learn languages basically.
So so it seems like the main way you learn languages is by speaking them.
Yeah, by speaking them, and through which I encounter a lot of words and phrases, and I write it
Right.
down my personal note
Got
and
it.
memorize it. This is my whole process of learning
Interesting.
languages.
I actually used to do a very similar thing in China where, I would obviously spend a lot of time speaking, but
Mm.
what I would always do is if I encountered something that I didn't understand, or if if even I thought of something that I didn't really know how to say, but I wanted to be able to say it, what I would often do is just write it down, and then in just go and ask a native speaker, hey, how do I say this? So it seems like you do something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and um, given that you're from Japan, I imagine there aren't too many native Spanish speakers around you. So
Right. Yeah.
what are some of the apps and websites that you use to find people to speak with?
Oh, you mean specific name of the application?
Yeah. Like what are the tools that you use?
Okay. So I use the HelloTalk,
Oh, HelloTalk.
which
Okay.
is a very like useful tool to instantly
Yeah,
connect with
I
people.
love we actually met in HelloTalk.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
HelloTalk. Yeah, HelloTalk is very useful application.
Yep.
I know the like CEO of HelloTalk, and
Oh, cool.
we are friends. So
Oh, awesome.
yeah, I I used to help help them promote in Japan. So
Oh, that's
I'm
cool.
very big fan of HelloTalk.
That's awesome.
And the other application is I use this Azar, Azar.
Oh yeah.
This is a very good tool for talking.
What is
It's
it?
this application is concentrated on like a video talk.
Mm.
So if you download the application,
Yeah.
the application instantly give the chance to talk directly directly to the native speaker through the video talk like this.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
I've never
very
heard of Azar.
cool.
I
Yeah,
use I use a tool called italki
yeah,
a lot.
yeah, like
But no, that sounds really cool. I'll have to check that out.
yeah.
And
I'll give you the link afterward.
sorry, go ahead.
I give you the link afterward.
Okay.
Hey.
Yeah, and what? So you use these apps to get a lot of speaking practice. When you're
Yeah.
when you're just starting out with a new language, brand new language, you're starting to learn French or Korean, and you've had no exposure to it before. Do you do you read any grammar books? Like how do you
Start new
especially
languages.
with European languages where there's a lot of conjugations and a lot of potentially tricky grammar rules. Like how do you get it up to speed on that stuff?
Yeah, okay. So first of course I start by learning a very basic of the language before start talking with foreign people, because without any knowledge,
Right.
It's impossible to talk with people
Sure,
in
sure.
these languages. So I try to learn very basic of
Yeah.
grammars or basic vocabulary or something. But my philosophy is do not learn what is not necessary for you.
Right.
So I think this basically the vocabulary book or grammar book, it's targeted not only for me but also other people as well whose status is different from what that of myself. So I scratch the surface of the published grammar book or vocabulary book, and I pick up what is really necessary for me and write it down my personal note and create my personal note, as I told you before many times. And I read it a lot and memorize it. And if I think I finished memorizing, I think I get a lot of basic, and maybe I instantly start talking with people through this kind of application.
Awesome, right? So your so your approach is just you try and master the basics, but then from there just go straight into speaking as much as possible.
I think the definition of basic is a little bit, I think, somewhat different from that of Japanese. The Japanese characteristic is very shy, and they want perfect.
Right.
Maybe the basic, the normal Japanese think is very high level.
Right.
They require high level as a basic, but which is quite different for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. Yeah.
Yeah. When I talk with people, I think maybe let's say about half of the communication is conducted through non-verbal communication.
Yeah.
So if I don't know a lot of knowledges of these languages, I can make myself understood in their language with a gesture, a smile, something. So not being shy and not being hesitated, maybe we should go and talk with people as soon as I get a very basic.
Yeah.
So this is I think it's a key of language learning.
That's super interesting to hear. Yeah, I definitely often encounter this problem where people are very shy, very hesitant to learn languages.
Yeah.
And actually, one thing that my fans will often ask me is what I can't I'm so you talk about speaking a lot, and that's great, but I'm really very very anxious when trying to go and speak to people. And I imagine that's That's especially if I think like I'm going to make a mistake or something like that, or, I'm going to be embarrass myself. Especially given that I'm sure a lot of Japanese people have that same problem. How do you kind of overcome that issue?
Okay, so there are two things I think is very important.
Yeah.
Is the first thing is to what I told you just right now. So the conversation,
Yeah.
maybe let's say the half of the conversation is conducted through the non-verbal communication.
Right.
So if your knowledge is not perfect, you can make yourself understood by gesture or like the smile or something. So this is one thing we should think about. And the second thing is to try to look for the people who is interested in your country. I think is very important. Yeah. Important to overcome the anxiety, because they like your country. So imagine that the people whose country you like are interested in learning your language, your country. Maybe I think this counterpart will be very happy to teach you, and they will never get angry with you because you don't have a lot of knowledges.
Yeah.
So maybe they look for the people who are interested in your country or your languages. It's the best way to overcome that anxiety.
Yeah, that's an excellent point. When I started learning Mandarin and Cantonese, I always found it. I think at first I had the same sort of problem of just kind of being a perfectionist and wanting to get everything down and not wanting to speak because I fear I'd make a mistake. But what I really learned is that Chinese people were just insanely forgiving. Like anything I would say, they'd be like, "Oh yeah, that's great," and they were just so excited to see a foreigner earnestly trying to learn Chinese, that they were just so excited to help, and I think that kind of experience for me just sort of helped me overcome these anxiety issues. And do you also, by the way, just for the audience, I want to point out that Yohei has never lived in any other country other than Japan, and so obviously speaks excellent English, and so definitely definitely these study tactics that you're talking about seem to be very effective for you. So, do you just again touching on being a polyglot in Japan? This is just kind of a something I'm curious about. Do you find that again, given that most Japanese are monolingual, what do people think about you being a polyglot? Is that something that strikes a lot of people as very strange or interesting or unusual? And then is there any way, do you try and meet up with other polyglots in Japan? Are there places where you can go and discuss strategies for learning languages, stuff like that?
So being a polyglot here in Japan, it's it's thought to be very good things.
Yeah.
Because it's true that a lot of people are monolingual.
Right.
Because I think there is no need to master English, because there are not so many foreign people, and I think the small number of foreign people who come to Japan know very much that the Japanese people don't speak English, so they try to master Japanese in order to survive here in Japan. So we don't have to study English, master English in order to be successful in the future. But we don't mean we hate foreign people. We are from the depth of the heart, we want to talk, we want to communicate with the people, but we can't because we are very shy. Right. So considering that point, in Japan, being able to speak a lot of languages, which means becoming a polyglot, it's thought to be very good for a lot of people. And I think this kind of monolingual situation paradoxically make myself very unique. So being a polyglot is a little bit difficult, because there are not so many foreign people and not so many the tandem, but it's very meaningful things to be a polyglot here in Japan. I think this is my opinion.
Right. And by the way, for those of you who don't know, Yohei actually has his own YouTube channel, which he's trying to more actively promote, and I think you're also looking to start up like a language learning company in Japan. So we'll link to that in the description. And anything else you want to share with the audience other than having everybody go and subscribe to your YouTube channel?
Okay. So I try to make own company about language learning, and I currently plan to launch my own application or something to help a lot of people study a lot of languages using my experience of the people who have no experience of living abroad, and I studied a lot of languages basically in their own country without going out of that country. So maybe it's very meaningful for the people whose status is very different, not so different from me. So
right.
Maybe you'll be very satisfied to use my application or something. So please subscribe my channel. Maybe I will get new information of language learning.
If you had a billboard and you could just put something out there for a message for everybody to read about language learning, what would it be? What's the number one piece of advice?
Okay. English reach to the ear of the counterpart, but the native language reach to the heart of the counterpart. Which means when I talk in the native language of the counterpart, that will open the eye, open the heart of the counterpart more easily, and from which we can get a lot of things from it.
Right.
So that means that results in the fact that learning a lot of languages is very meaningful.
Right.
This is my message for the audience.
Yeah, I think that's so true. If you can speak somebody else's native language, that's it's just you can connect with them on such a deeper level than having them speak your language. So
yeah,
totally agree with you there. Yeah, I think that's all I've got. And everybody remember to go check out Yohei's YouTube channel and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And let me know what you thought about this interview. Leave any comments or any kind of questions you'd have for Yohei, and you can always respond to the comments. And I'll see you all next week.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Hey.
Bye, Yohei. See ya.
Bye. See ya.